You dig the perfect hole, amend the soil, and carefully position your new sapling. You water it deeply and watch it grow. But out in the open, that young tree is exposed to hours of intense, unforgiving sunlight. Then, usually on the south or southwest side of the trunk, pale, dry patches appear. The bark begins to crack, and eventually it peels away to reveal dead tissue underneath. If you've seen this happen, you might have suspected a disease or a pest, but the cause is entirely solar. That tree has a severe case of sunburn, a condition arborists call sunscald. The leaves up in the canopy depend entirely on direct solar radiation to produce energy and keep the plant alive. But for the young trunk down below, that exact same sunlight is lethal. While winter storms and summer droughts are serious threats, a young tree must first survive the precise energy source that powers its growth. To understand exactly how light destroys a tree, we have to look at the physical differences between a mature canopy and a newly planted sapling. Older trees have developed a robust defense system. Their outer bark forms a thick, corky layer that provides immense thermal insulation against the outside environment. A young sapling lacks that armor. Its bark is thin and highly delicate. It functions much more like exposed human skin, offering virtually zero thermal protection. When the direct rays of the midday sun strike that unprotected surface, the thermodynamics work against the tree. The dark bark rapidly absorbs the solar radiation, causing the surface temperature to spike in a matter of hours. That heat transfers instantly through the thin bark. The living vascular cells just beneath it, crucial for carrying water, literally cook and die. Once destroyed, the tree's internal plumbing breaks down. Water and nutrients traveling up that side hit a dead end. When those vascular cells die, the tree's internal life support system is severed, leaving it unable to move water past the point of the burn. Protecting these trees requires us to manage that heat transfer by manipulating the trunk's reflectivity. The physics rule is straightforward. Dark surfaces absorb solar radiation and heat up. White surfaces reflect that radiation away. Professional agriculturalists rely on a striking visual solution. In massive orchards planted in open fields, they paint thousands of tree trunks white. Applying diluted white paint and water lowers the internal temperature of the trunk, bouncing the heat away before it penetrates the bark. You can apply this orchard logic in a home garden. Wrapping the trunk in a breathable, light-colored tree wrap achieves the identical thermodynamic protection. We can save these saplings by changing the physics of the trunk's surface, bouncing the sun's radiation away to keep the inner cells cool. If you don't want to alter the trunk's surface, a next best defense strategy is utilizing physical shade to intercept the light before it ever makes contact. This brings up a common mistake many well-meaning gardeners make. They prune a young tree heavily, far too early in its life. Those lower branches and leaves act as the trunk's natural umbrella. When you clip them away, you instantly expose that delicate bark to direct, unbroken solar rays. Retaining that lower canopy helps immensely. You can lower sunburn risk by positioning near existing structures or setting up temporary shade screens during peak summer heat. There is also a final layer of defense you can manage from the ground down: internal cooling. Trees under water stress lose their ability to manage heat. By providing deep watering during dry stretches and applying organic mulch over the root zone, you give the tree the moisture it needs to regulate its internal temperature and keep its tissues resilient. Through thoughtful pruning and consistent deep hydration, the sapling goes from being a passive target for the sun to an active participant in its own thermal defense. Planting a tree requires you to manage the microclimate surrounding the trunk just as carefully as the soil and the roots. This window of extreme vulnerability is strictly a temporary phase in the tree's development. Over time, the sapling will grow out of this dangerous stage. Its canopy will naturally expand outward to cast shade across its own base, and the delicate outer skin will thicken into permanent, heat-resistant bark. Our job as gardeners is to step in during those early years and act as a temporary thermal shield. By preventing sunburn today, we ensure the tree survives to provide its own shade and beauty for decades to come.